I'm Joe Normal, and you're watching Guitar Tales with Dave Cohen and Scott Guitar Masenko. Have a rockin' day.
A Guitar Assist bumper. I don't know if it's legally a bumper, but I love that. I love when Scott does his recordings down in his cool studio in his house and gives them all to us. You just did one the other day that was fantastic. You really got a nice sound out of your guitar. But enough about Scott for the moment, because we'll see him in a second. This is our Super Bowl show. Someone who will not be there this year, who hasn't been there in a long time and won't be there for a long time, no doubt, as will the folks on Scott's shirt. But before we jump into our Super Bowl show, let's thank, as we always do, Mr. Studios over in Pennington, New Jersey, our great friend Charles Larita. Go there if you want your guitar fixed, if you want to record your guitar, or if you want to improve your game and start taking some lessons. Everything you need at Mr. Studios. And Scott, swipe on in if you could.
I'm swiping. I was pushing buttons to make the show look professional.
You were a bad swiper.
I got my lighted guitar today, which is very Super Bowl-ish, very showy, and that's part of what a Super Bowl halftime show is all about.
It is.
I'm wearing my Joe Namath Jet jersey.
Yeah. That is cool. So let me ask you this. Of the two teams we have on, which one is worse?
Well, the Jets have historically been shitty.
Yeah. I mean,
what you know about, by the way, before we begin, what I don't know about sports and football can fit into a thimble. I know a lot about music, but not a whole hell of a lot about sports. The reason I became a Jet fan is because back when I was a kid, Joe Namath was on TV every 2 seconds.
Yep.
He was on talk shows. He was on Mike Douglas' show. He was doing Noxema commercials. He was on the Brady Bunch.
Mike who?
And I'm like, that guy's wearing a fur coat. I want to root for that guy's team.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I got a Jets jacket, and it's been hell ever since.
That's very nice. Did you hear me? I said, Mike who? Who's Mike Douglas?
Mike Douglas, he's legendary. How dare you?
Yeah, he is. So we're going to have fun because I have in front of me, Scott sent me this cool email right here. It's very long. And this is a cool compendium. Here we go. Here's maybe one of the most iconic.
Wow, you printed everything. Well, we got all those pictures in the system here to put them up nice and close.
But the list is really cool. And I'm going to let Scott take over. But one thing that a lot of folks don't think about is the history of the halftime show, and that's what we're here to chat about. And Scott's little list starts in 1967, and I think you correct me if I'm wrong. What year is it that the two leagues actually started doing a Super Bowl? Is that 67?
That's a sports question. Ask me when the Fender Strat came out.
That's right. Because I know that when Joe Namath in 69 was in it, that was one of the first years when you had AFC versus NFC.
Yeah.
But there was a time when that didn't exist.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. But the list
we're also going to, since there's so many, Super Bowl halftime shows, and a lot of them are terrible. Our job tonight is not really to critique each show.
Right.
We may talk a little bit about some of the hokier ones and some of the better ones, but I'm thinking we concentrate, since we're a guitar-oriented show, concentrate on some of the gear and some of the guitars that were being used for those shows.
Yep.
Watching a Super Bowl halftime show with me is kind of weird. Everybody's like, "Wow, they're lip syncing. Wow, those dancers are really great." I'm like, wow, look at that Strat.
That's right. I know.
That's what I'm all about.
But
wow, look at that bass.
But I want to know if they're really playing. And a lot of the times when I watch, I'm trying to figure out, if they're really playing, because sometimes they could guitar sync the way you might lip sync.
Yeah.
And I have trouble telling sometimes.
Yeah, I think you'll find that the more pop music you are, the more of a chance that you're going to be lip
Yes.
syncing, because you're dancing around like crazy with sharks and stuff, with people in shark costumes,
I know.
and you're out of breath. You can't sing the song when you're out of breath.
And depending upon where the Super Bowl is, the weather. I mean, you played at Giants Stadium when it was like 1 degree outside,
Yeah,
and that's not easy.
it was literally 37 degrees. Maybe I'll put a picture up of that. It was so cold.
Yeah.
We were living on Bud Lights, and there was no heater on stage. It was freezing. I was playing with gloves on. Anyway, that was
Bud Light, I said.
the whole other thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll the Super Bowl years here per decade. So this is the 60s, and it should coming up here. So you can see primarily all these Super Bowl halftime shows are marching bands. Nearly all of them are marching. In fact, all of them are marching bands.
They are. And, you know, I was saying to you before the show, and the running joke, of course, is when we chat, it's a show. But we have to give them a pass because that was Americana, right? And until someone thought, wow, we could really monetize halftime, it was sort of a throwaway, you know. So if someone was a real football fan, that gives them anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to walk away from, now it's a little longer, walk away from their television and do what they have to do. So these really boring looking halftime shows are okay, because you think about if you watch a high school football game for your kids, halftime isn't interesting. Even in college, it's really not interesting.
Not unless Junior's on the drum set or something, or
right, exactly
different. So the 60s were kind of like, Sleep City. You're not going to see any really cool Stratocasters in the 60s.
No,
as far as a halftime show goes.
Right.
You want to see cool instruments from the 60s, you got to check out the Woodstock show. You'll see a lot of old vintage instruments on that thing. So then we move into the 70s. Now you're going to see some names. There's Carol Channing from Broadway, right? Al Hirt, the famous New Orleans musician. Lionel
Doc
Hampton.
Severinsen.
Doc
Severinsen.
Musician. But again, primarily marching band type things. And then they brought in a couple of
Hold on,
stars.
before we lose it. Anita Bryant.
Yeah.
Orange juice is not just for breakfast anymore.
She ran into trouble somewhere along the line. I forgot.
She did. She was horrible. She had very socially backwards thinking, and I'm very comfortable saying that. I'm no fan. Okay. I don't think she's with us anymore, but yeah
probably not. University of Texas Marching Band, Grambling State Marching Band, but then every once in a while, and then we had the Bicentennial.
Right.
They did this little hokey Up With People thing. I watched that. That's almost unwatchable.
Right.
Very hokey, but very safe. And then,
but no one's thinking about selling commercials for $3 million a second.
Not at all. And then at some point, Disney got involved and started producing the shows, and they got even hokier.
Wow.
They brought out some of the Disney characters, and they were basically just doing a gigantic commercial for Disney. And they realized in the 1970s, Epcot wasn't built yet. So they would take the opportunity, especially if it was in LA. You see the 1977 Los Angeles Unified School District's All-City Band. Who can forget those guys?
I would love to see them. I would love to see that show.
And the Disney performers. So
it would be a great kitsch thing to do? To get like a T-shirt, like one of those vintage T-shirts that has the 1977 All-Star High School Band, and walk around like you're wearing a Woodstock shirt.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I peaked in 1977 in school band. I wasn't in the school band in high school. That's a whole other story.
I did for about a minute. I actually was playing the timpanis. Fun fact. But I quit.
Drumming then, and I was considered to be one of the top drummers in middle school and they were really waiting for me to get to high school, and they couldn't wait for me to get to high school. They were even grooming me over the summer to play snare and bass and stuff. When they found out I couldn't read music very well, it went very badly.
It was all over.
They stuck me on a bass drum. I'm like, I'm not carrying this stupid thing around. I don't even want to be in the marching band. Well, you have to be in the marching band, otherwise you can't be in the other bands. And then I give them the old, I quit.
I quit.
Which you'll see in one of our other shows. From the Oneaters.
I think you could. It was the Oneaters. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think you could probably do a graphic. We could have that graphic twice.
Yeah, why not?
In post.
All right, here we go. The big 80s marching band.
Up with Still not interesting.
Again. So they're doing this Up With People thing again. It's very hokey. Every year they have the Up With People. It gets bigger and bigger, but it's still sort of
I'm looking
an
at it.
aggrandized Macy's Day Parade type of vibe,
Right. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
A lot of this kind of stuff.
Wait, hold on. How was that? Okay, thanks. Just wanted to make sure.
Listen, I could have been a Musketeer. My ears were too small.
Yeah.
Air Force Band. Let's see. Again with the Up With People thing. They went with the Up With People thing year after year after year. They dragged in George Burns and Mickey Rooney at one point. And this is the 80s, so nobody knew who the hell they were. There was just a couple of old guys to most people.
Yeah.
Then they had like their first famous person, Chubby Checker.
That's a big deal.
Made an entire career out of one song. And the Rockettes. And something absolutely horrible, but must be watched. The magician called Elvis Presto. This guy,
so that was a real thing.
Elvis was dancing around on the field and doing magic tricks with the boxes and the girls and spinning things around and stuff and singing,
right,
and lip syncing and not actually talking and just lip syncing. Hi, everybody, how are you? Chango, and he was dressed as Elvis, and it's a horror show. That's very, very funny. You should check that one out. Again, still no big stars and no great instruments to talk about yet. So now finally, this is when they discovered how to make money.
Right.
The 1990s. Now you'll see they kind of creep in 1990. They got a couple of guys here that you'd probably see on the Tonight Show. Pete Fountain, he's another New Orleans clarinet guy. Then they brought in New Kids on the Block. Disney
they were very, very, very big. Yeah, that's
people went nuts.
Gloria,
like ice skating thing.
Right.
Gloria Stefan. That was a horror show. Then of course Michael Jackson finally came on the scene and blew everybody away.
Yeah.
On the Michael Jackson thing, they did like a whole country thing. So if you're not in country, that was kind of a wash.
Right.
They
Miami Sound Machine.
They brought Diana Ross in 1996 in the stadium on a helicopter, very dangerous. In 97, they did a whole blues thing with the Blues Brothers. Of course, John Belushi was already gone by then, so James Belushi took over for his brother.
Okay.
And James Brown and ZZ Top. Now we're talking about
we're getting big now. Yeah.
Now we're talking about some cool guitars. Motown stuff.
Queen Latifah. Fun fact.
They brought Gloria Estefan back with Stevie Wonder to finally have her do a better job.
Yeah, fun fact. GT guest Todd Yasui produced the Queen Latifah show for a while.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did.
How's that?
So you go.
I think this is a shot of ZZ Top, I hope.
Let's see.
There you go. So we got a Fender bass there. It looks like a very old Fender bass, actually.
It looks short for a P bass, but it has to be, right?
No, it looks like it's based on the Telecaster style body, which would make it a bass probably from the 50s.
Yeah, because that is not a long neck there.
And Billy's obviously playing some old ass Gibson Les Paul there.
Yeah.
Probably also from the 1950s.
And it's so funny to watch ZZ Top surrounded by sequined dancers. And that's the true cheesiness of the halftime show.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till we get to 2010, my favorite band, because the whole notion of that which is rock is really inconsistent with that which is football, in my opinion.
Right.
There are certain rock bands who are sort of, they portend to be macho, the Kid Rocks of the world.
Right.
He acts macho, but the British Invasion folks, Mick Jagger is 90 pounds, soaking wet.
Yeah.
And so the Mick slinking around the stage is sort of, in my view, inconsistent with sort of the machismo of a football game, and yet we all love the Stones.
Absolutely. So as you can see now, they're having some success and they're making some money. There's some names here that people recognize, right? And they're in for. The Blues Brothers thing, that may seem a little out of place, but there was the movie The Blues Brothers 2000 came out that year.
Yeah.
And again, they were trying to promote that film, and it really tanked. And then we have the 2000s. And we start off the 2000s with Phil Collins, Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias.
These are big names now.
Big names here. Aerosmith, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige. Now you can see now the U2 came in 2002 and did sort of a tribute to 9/11. That was great. Shania Twain, no doubt, Sting. Janet Jackson and the famous Nipplegate. I didn't call it that. That's what the media called it.
It is. And by the way, there's no way that wasn't planned.
Paul McCartney, Rolling Stones, Prince, of course. We'll get to that.
Look at you just walking by my comment there. You're just letting it go.
I'm reading them the ticker.
Yeah.
Tom Petty, Bruce and the E Street Band, 2010 Your Boys The Who.
Yes, the Who. Yeah, I don't think I liked their performance a lot, but I don't think it's consistent with sort of the football vibe. I don't think. I think there are bands, the pop bands, I think are more consistent. I think country is consistent with the football vibe.
Yeah.
Bruce sort of is.
Right.
Bruce Springsteen. Lenny Kravitz kind of is. He's a, kind of a macho-y guy. But like, I don't think U2 is. U2 is a very flowery band.
Mm.
And
they did do a nice job of saluting
the
9/11 tragedy when they
came
on, and they had all the names behind them on a big banner.
Yeah,
it was really very emotional.
And I guess you're right. So in a situation like that, if you put U2 on now, I don't find it consistent. I just I just flew out to Vegas. They're one of my favorite bands. I saw them in Vegas a month ago. But yeah, for a 9/11 tribute, they'd be perfect. So for a regular year, I don't think they would be.
After the 2004 Janet Jackson, see, everything was going great, and they were making money.
Yep.
Until 2004, when Janet Jackson and Timberlake had that wardrobe malfunction, which, if you watch it over, it's completely. It's
planned. The clothing was planned already.
Totally planned. Anyway.
Yeah.
I
think
CVS got in a lot of trouble. They got a lot of trouble. They backpedaled. They apologized. Middle America was like
losing their minds.
They're like, and so the people that run this shindig, they were like, "That's it, everybody out of the pool." Remember when you were a kid? So
you're right.
They went safe. They went with Paul McCartney,
right?
An ex-Beatle. Right after that big to do, they say, "Who can we get who's safe?"
Yeah,
people know the songs and he's famous. I know Paul McCartney.
Yeah,
that's how they ended up. So from Paul McCartney, and through the Rolling Stones and Prince and Tom Petty, you could see we're kind of going on a classic rock thing here.
Yep,
for the next few years. That's because they considered classic rock to be a safer choice.
Well, by then they're already pretty old. Most of the classic rock folks. Look at this. I'm turning the page to get I'm up to 2012 on the list.
So while we're talking about it, let's look at some guitars. So we have here's Tom Petty and his guitar for that show, which looks like a powder blue.
It's a Telly.
Yeah.
Now, can you see it? I think it says Fender as opposed to some other company doing a Fender-ish guitar.
And he's got a capo.
He does have a capo.
Probably means he's doing free falling.
Yeah.
If probably.
And he's not barring that chord because if you look at the curve of his pointer finger.
Yeah. No, he's playing a chord. He's just in a different key.
Right, but not a bar chord. Yeah.
Sir Paul playing his famous Hofner bass.
I love that. His lefty bass.
Left-handed Hofner bass.
I know.
You might recognize these guys. Now, the Stones didn't do costume changes, but they definitely did guitar changes. Ronnie Wood's playing this
that's a good looking guitar.
Chrome looking Stratty thing, and it has Woody Woodpecker on the neck. It says Woody.
Oh, I love that.
He's Ron Wood. So that's probably some cool ass custom.
By the way, I like Ron Wood and Keith, or I like Ron and Keith. I like Ron better.
Do you?
Yeah, a lot better. I love what he did with the faces. And Keith
as a player, as a performer, because
as a player.
He's pretty cool. Look at him.
Yeah, Keith is cooler than Ron. But when I listen to their sound, and there's something about Ron's playing that I've always really loved, and I'm a big fan of the faces. And I always forget if the faces are the same as the small faces or if there's overlap. Ronnie Lane was in the small faces, I think.
I think so, yeah.
But and then Rod led the faces, and the Who's Kenny Jones was in them too. But Ron was, until Rod stole him, and there's no hard feelings, or the Stones stole Ron Wood from Rod Stewart, and Rod has no hard feelings. I've heard him in interviews because they're so huge. But I think I like his playing more than Keith's, and I love them both.
They really play well together.
They do.
You know, it's just really great.
And Keith plays with 5 strings usually,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
So there's Keith. He's playing
Yeah.
I looked this up. That is a 1959 Gibson.
ES? Is it an ES?
It's an ES. It's a 355
Oh, it's not a 350.
with a Bigsby tremolo,
That's gorgeous.
which he probably wouldn't dare touch if throw the whole thing out of tune.
Yeah, well, it's when we had
that's a really, really expensive rare guitar.
Well, when we had vintage guitars on, I'm still waiting for them. Right now, the only ES 350-ish guitar they have is on the other side of the pond because Rick Taylor was trying to get me one.
That light blue one.
Yes,
oh, that's
it's
beautiful.
gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But I've always wanted an ES styled guitar, and you can get a nice Epiphone version of it. But I got to say, I would take a Gibson or a vintage over even an ES from what he was telling us about those guitars.
So from 2010, here's the Who. Pete's playing a maple neck Fender there.
Kind of basic.
I don't think it's early. I think it's just sort of a newer Fender from that year.
Yeah, it looks kind of. It's interesting.
I was thrilled that he was still windmilling, and Zach Starkey on the drums.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that era.
He played really cool. If you look at the video, he's playing these cymbals. They look like the Who target.
Oh, I love that.
The blue and the white and the red.
And they performed well. I remember. I remember where I was. I was at my neighbor's house for that concert,
and everybody made fun of Pete's belly.
Oh, was it sticking out? I forget.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't remember.
See it in the shot. It's kind of showing its ugly head.
Yeah. He's bitter these days. He's very bitter. Every interview I hear, we were better than Led Zeppelin. Really? I mean, I love them both, but really.
Jersey guys, Bruce and Stevie Van Zandt.
They were fabulous. He's, of course, playing his telly.
Yeah. And
his beaten up old telly.
An early or an older
Les Paul, right?
Les Paul, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good time to tell my Steve Van Zandt Sopranos story because the Sopranos are celebrating their
25th, right?
Anniversary.
Yeah.
So the very first Sunday that show is on, Tico Torres, the drummer from Bon Jovi's a friend of the family, was over for dinner or something on Sunday. And we're standing out on the porch, chit-jabbing with my father and everybody, and he goes, "Oh crap, what time is it?" I go, "Oh, blah, blah. My friend Stevie Van Zandt's going to be on this show on HBO called The Sopranos." I'm like, "Oh wow, all right, yeah, we have HBO. Let's go inside." I go, "What's it about? Is it like a modern day Partridge Family kind of thing?" The Sopranos, and he goes, "No, it's about like New Jersey mobsters and stuff." And I go, "And it's called The Sopranos? Is it a
Oh, you're thinking the musical.
Yeah, is it a comedy?" And wait, what does he do? He plays.
You call it a comedy one more time, I'll whack you.
He plays like a mob guy. I'm like, oh. I'm thinking
he was fabulous in that show.
Can't possibly be. There's no way he can act too, right? Can he be that talented?
Yeah.
Well, of course, history shows the minute I tuned in, I was blown away what Steve Van Zandt was up to with the hair and the attitude and home run.
Yeah.
So sorry, Stevie, I doubted you. But it's kind of funny that I thought The Sopranos was a comedy on HBO.
It is
like a traveling family of musicians or something. So then, who else do we have here? I'm stalling here.
So right, I'll tell some jokes and entertain the crowd while you're doing that.
I think I showed this one already. Yeah, that's another picture of the Stones, and now it's a closer shot of that Woody guitar.
Yeah, that's a good looking. They're both good looking guitars,
and it's all silver.
That Bigsby is gorgeous on that.
Yeah, Aerosmith. So Joe is playing this big ass. I had to find out what that was.
Yeah, what is that?
That's a really great.
Is it a Guild?
No, it's a
Gretsch.
It's a Gretsch White Falcon.
Oh, did you notice I said that right before the picture came up?
Yeah. You're showing your knowledge of guitars. Very good.
That's a gorgeous guitar.
Moving to a little bit more modern. I wish I knew who this guy was. I did look it up. I'm so sorry. He was out there with Eminem, I think.
Oh, okay.
And that's one of those PRSs.
Oh, that's really pretty.
PRS Strat.
I love when you get the 3-on-3 Strats because it looks kind of weird, but it looks kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah.
And that guitar pulls it off. It's almost like it's the same headstock as my old Westbury that I had a million years ago.
Yeah, instead of having all the tuners on one side, it's like 3 and 3.
Yeah.
There's Lenny. No surprise there. He's just playing a straight up black Gibson. I don't know what year that is. Probably 1970 something.
He's got, that guy has such a sense of style. Everything he does perfectly.
Now I got to look at the. He was on with Katy Perry and Missy Elliott that year, and for whatever reason, he just got outshined by the ladies that night for some reason.
Yeah.
He had sort of a forgettable performance, which is unfortunate because he's a really, really talented feller.
Yeah, he is.
Then we have the guy who took his shirt off, Adam Levine. I really, really love this Relic Stratocaster. It's got a wood rose, which is my thing.
Yeah.
It's all beat up looking, which is my thing.
Now, is that beat up looking or is it beat up? What do you think?
Oh no, that was totally artificially Relic. There's no way Adam Levine did enough road years to put that.
Yeah,
on.
You know what? And Adam Levine is such a fake guy, and he's a bad guy.
Vaughn did, but not him.
Yeah. I'll say on our show, he's a piece of shit.
Ouch.
No, he's a bad guy.
He's got good taste in guitars, though. Look at the Ibanez gem he's got here.
He has great taste in guitars, but he's a bad guy. He's a very bad guy.
And
I'm very comfortable saying that.
That's a beauty. That's one of Steve Vai's creations.
That's a gorgeous guitar.
Neon pink.
Yeah.
And I think that is an actual neon pink guitar, not a reproduction.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Finally, we have Prince. Right? Prince.
Yeah. And
Prince, everybody remembers the Prince guitar, but he also had this famous Telecaster.
That telly is gorgeous. That looks like an old telly. Look how narrow the headstock is there.
Yeah, with the leopard skin pickguard on there and everything.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of people on our show talk about him. Growing up, I mean he wasn't that much older than us. But I never really understood him as a guitar player. I thought of him as sort of a pop performer, and he was good. He was really good. Mm-hmm. But his playing, and then Purple Rain, I mean, I think if you talk about the very best Super Bowl performance, whether you rate him number one or not, he's always in the conversation.
Yeah, we could do 30 minutes on that show alone.
It was so unbelievable.
I watched it again.
Okay.
Couple of takeaways. The guitar was way, way louder than the band.
Yeah, I'm sure he wanted that.
Unbelievably louder. Excruciatingly louder. I don't know. I couldn't even hear the drums. That's how loud it was.
I don't remember that part. That's interesting.
And I was told that's the only. It only came over that way over the broadcast on TV. In the stadium, it was properly mixed.
Oh, that's interesting. And it rained it rained as he's playing.
It rained all day. In fact, the production manager called Prince that morning. Goes, it's still raining, man. I'm sorry. He goes, we're doing it. I don't care if it's raining. But to dance around, the girl they had dancing with him on high heels with a slippery stage. I mean, it could have been catastrophic, and it ended up being one of the greatest shows ever.
Yeah,
so then he busted out this thing.
I remember that one. Yeah,
that crazy thing. It was pouring rain. He's doing Purple Rain. I mean, it was just like everything came together.
It really did. I mean, the universe, all the stars aligned for that performance, and I could hear it right now. I could see it in my head. I could just envision it.
He did get in trouble again with Middle America, rearing their ugly head again.
Right.
They put this a sheet or something in front
I remember
of him,
that. Yep.
So that his image was his shadow image was being shot onto the screen.
He was silhouetted, basically, right?
And if you just use your imagination and you have a silhouette and you have that giant thing hanging off your guitar, what kind of looks like something.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was an accident.
No, I'm sure not.
If you know anything about Prince.
Middle America needs to have a Bud Light. They'll be okay.
Relax. Very upset about his wiener guitar.
Yeah.
So, and so this year we have Usher. It was a great performer. Maybe we'll see some.
Yep. He's great. I forgot. I saw him. One of the times when I went to see Todd when he produced a Tonight Show. I saw Usher live on the Tonight Show. I forgot about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
His second appearance, he was.
I saw him on our list. Yeah,
2011 he was on with the Black Eyed Peas.
But I remember
and Slash. I didn't have a picture of Slash and his guitar, but everybody knows what his guitar looks like.
Right. Yeah, I saw him in the small studio for the Tonight Show, which is a nice, intimate venue. He was great. He was really great. Very talented. Really sweet on the interview. Like a really nice, humble guy. I remember that.
I'm just going to check our post from this afternoon. Well, the last minute post.
Right.
Overwhelmingly, it's Prince.
Everyone thinks that. Yeah.
Best performance, best guitar, best everything.
Yeah.
So that's it. So, I mean, that's the bar. That's the bar that every performer has to break. Now, I think next year they should get a marching band and try to, play.
I think they should too.
In the rain or something.
You know what they could do? I'll see if I can line this up. If you've seen, I love them on YouTube. There's that band. I think it's the 1,000 musicians playing at once.
Yeah.
That would be fun if they got those folks to do it.
Exactly.
Hey, Scott, how do we subscribe to Guitar Tales?
Well, we made it easy for you. Just take your phone. If you're sitting at home with your phone or watching us on the phone, you just scan that QR code with your camera, and it will take you right to the channel. That's fabulous. Once you're there, you hit subscribe, hit the notifications bell, because this season is heating up. I can't even.
We can't say
about who's coming on, but we got some really, really great guests coming on.
We're in talks to have someone on. We're 5 or 6 or 7 generations, maybe not 7, 6 generations of people will know this guest, and we'll be excited that we have him or her on.
Yes.
So we're very excited about that, and we're grateful for the friends of the show who are helping make it happen. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, we will definitely be gushing and thanking you. We can't say anything right now. We also have a new sponsor in the works. You guys are going to love that.
I know. We went by that person's shop last night together.
We did.
So it should be good.
All the shows are still streaming every Thursday, the catalog, until we're sort of caught up. And then maybe we'll just, stream the most recent show every Thursday.
Yeah.
Or every other Thursday, whenever we do.
We're almost caught up.
3 irons in the fire with big guests and a couple of intermezzo shows, as we call them.
We
They're
do.
about 30 minutes apiece, and that's pretty much where we are right now.
We're at the
mark.
We are. And I guess this is a good time for us both to sign out. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. This is going to air prior to the Super Bowl so that you can comment, share, like.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll see how Usher does.
That's right. I predict he'll do great. Me too. Well, have a good night, everyone.
Yes, and we'll see you soon.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
It's Phil X, and you're watching Guitar Tales with Dave Cohen. And Guitar Tales. Like, what else do you need, right? Guitar. We're geeks, nerds, gear, inspirations, positive vibes. Look out.